Hello, everyone. This is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there.
All right, everybody. So I know you're used to watching all this pre-roll stuff and not paying attention, but pay attention. There's all kinds of stuff happening during the next few months. We've got people from NVIDIA, we have people from AWS, we have free boot camps. So watch all this pre-roll stuff so you know what's going on.
Hello, everyone. This is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there.
My name is Richard Furr, and I can say I am cloud hired.
That yes, come and join and get cloud hired. I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
Hey, Go Cloud Architect family. I'm Cloud Hired.
So I'm cloud hired, guys.
So I'll just say I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired thanks to Go Cloud Architects.
It worked for me, and now I'm cloud hired. Because of Google Architect program, I am cloud hired. See!
I am cloud hired. Thank you, Mike and the Glow Cloud team.
This is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers. And I'm here with you today to help answer any type of cloud computing career training questions and answers you may have. Maybe your goal is to become a cloud architect. Maybe your goal is to become a solution architect. Maybe your goal is to become a cloud engineer. Maybe your goal is to become an enterprise architect. But whatever your career goal is, I want to help you get that first cloud architect job, get that first enterprise architect job, solution architect job, cloud engineer job, because that's what I do. For those of you that don't know me, I've been working in tech now for over 25 years, most exclusively as an architect, but I've been helping people get their first tech job or get promoted in tech for more than 2 decades. And I want to help you get cloud hired or cloud promoted, because that's 100% what we're all about over here at Go Cloud Careers. Right now, right here, cloud architects don't code. I'm going to tell you what cloud architects do right now. Design, present, and sell. So if it's not involved in designing or presenting or selling, it's not our job. So I've been an architect now for 25 years. The only thing that I can tell you about coding is I tried learning it one time 24 years ago. I hated it, and I don't know how to do any of it. Now, you've gotten about 100 architects hired last year, no coding at all, because architects don't code. So I'll read it to you again. This is what the companies want you to do. This is posted in CIO Magazine. A cloud architect leads the cultural change for cloud adoption, develops and coordinates the cloud architecture, develops a cloud strategy and coordinates the adoption process, finds the talent with the necessary skills, assesses application software, hardware, etc., creates a cloud broker team, oversees governance and mitigates risk, works closely with the IT security people to monitor privacy and develop incident response procedures, manage budgets and estimate cost, and operate at scale. So, of the thousands of architects I know, I don't know a single one, not zero, that can code, because that's somebody else's job. Now, if you ask me about a cloud engineer job, they code. If you ask me about the maintenance people's job, meaning the SysOps people, which I don't ever recommend learning, they code. If you're asking me about a DevOps engineer, wow, they need to be a software developer first, because they need to code that well, and then they can become a DevOps engineer. But cloud architects don't code. We don't touch the tech ever. We design, present, and sell. So no coding languages whatsoever, no hands-on configuration. So right here, right now, trying to think about it this way. The architect is the designer. So if I was a billionaire and I wanted to open a really beautiful hotel, something almost as nice as the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and let's say I wanted to do it in Palm Beach, Florida, the first thing that I would do is I would hire an architect. And I'd tell the architect, I want the biggest, tallest, coolest building in the island of Palm Beach, Florida. And the architect would say, what would you want? And I'd say, a lush waterfall, a garden, a pool with a water slide, a miniature golf course. And I want it to look so beautiful that people come from all over the world. And here's what would happen. The architect would take those descriptions. The architect would then draw up some blueprints with their computer-aided drafting and design. Maybe they'd print out a 3D model, and they would present it back to me, and they would show it to me. Mike, do you like it? And I'd say, yes. And then they'd say, okay, sign off on this, and then I would hire a construction crew. The construction crew would use the hammers, the drills, a saw kind of thing. I don't know how to use tools like a screwdriver. I don't know, but one of these days I'd like to learn. It's just that I only know my job and nothing else. That's the reality. I'm a specialist. So there's that. So what you can see is the architect hires a construction crew. So right now, right here, here's my job. I get a call from a customer. Hey, Mike, I'm trying to improve my business performance with technology. Could you come and talk to me? I ask the customer to explain their business challenge. I look at the balance sheet, their financial statements. I ask a bunch of employees what's going on. I look at their workflows. I then bring in some techies, some great cloud engineers, some super smart people to come in, baseline the organization systems, tell me what they have. I then send the techies home. And I then have all the information. I then go back to my company and I build a team of engineers and architects that are going to help me design the thing. Then I document it. I write a Word document, a PowerPoint, a Visio, or a Draw.io, or a Lucidchart diagram, or you're a senior architect like me, and you write it on a napkin, and you take a picture of your napkin, and you send it to the graphics team, and it's going to make it look beautiful in InDesign. Then, what do? We go back to the customer, we present it back to the customer. The customer says, I like this and this, Mike, but not this, so I go back to the office. I bring in this extended team that I got to build. We go tune it, and I go back to the customer, I present it, and they say, I like it. So then we get part of the negotiation process. We negotiate the deal. We sell it to the customer. And once we're done right here, right now, we're gone. We turn it over to a build team of cloud engineers, DevOps engineers, etc. Just like the architect. And that's why people can't get architect jobs, because they're learning to code. They're learning sysops. They're learning DevOps. And that is not our job. That's somebody else's. So would you like a doctor that knows how to practice medicine? Or would you like a doctor that knows how to practice law? So study your job. We don't code. Ever. But we don't configure either. But what we do a lot of is design, present, and sell, and entertain clients, etc. Great question there. Nakia, no, you don't have to learn coding. If you did, I'd still be practicing medicine because I hate coding. Malcolm Sims, is there a particular sequence or order of certifications that should be taken when learning cloud architecture? Malcolm Sims, here's my perspective. Learn cloud architecture first and then take the exams, because they're nothing related to the cloud. So, Malcolm, the first thing that I would start learning on, unless you came from a sales background, is as follows. I'd first start working on some leadership skills. And what I mean by this is the ability to manage large numbers of people based upon the situation and know which type of leadership. Know when to use command and control, like in emergency, know when to use an affiliative leadership style, etc., etc. So those are the things which we teach in our course. Next are some of the things that I would actually start learning early. Early on, I would start practicing the presentation skills. I would start practicing learning some of the business pieces. I would start learning that all from the beginning. And here's why, Malcolm. It generally takes a little longer to learn how to speak with executive presence and how to train these skills than it actually does the tech. So I usually start there. I start with the career planning, etc. Then once we do that, Malcolm, what else do I worry about? I start worrying about learning the fundamentals of the network and the data center. And here's the reason why. So if you know the network and the data center, then you know all of the cloud. So if you learn about server virtualization, which we teach for real, why don't we call the virtual machine? You know what it is on any cloud. So you'll know that it's an EC2 instance, a compute engine instance on Google and Azure virtual, but you'll know what it is. Why don't you learn object storage and know what it is? You'll know what it is. So, yeah, I'm looking at your picture. What I think I can see from the distance is I see a Marine Corps uniform. So, somebody gets through their Marine Corps training and they decide to be a sniper. They already have the fundamentals of certain things. So then it's a matter of learning wind calculations, ballistic calculations, humidity, Coriolis effect, coming in and out without being seen. So that's the skill they're teaching. They're not teaching basic shooting at that point because it's already been taught. The fundamentals are there. So here's the reason I say this way. So I spent 2 days preparing for the Google Professional Cloud Architect. Now, why did it only take me 2 days, Malcolm Sims? Because I knew the network and the data center. So I just read the book and I was like, oh, okay. Simple exam. But if I didn't know the network and the data center, that exam, I would have spent 6 months preparing for it, because I would have had to learn what is a load balancer and what is a firewall and what is this and what is this and what is this. So it would have been there. So Malcolm, soft skills, all those other cool things first. And so soft skills first. Next, after the soft skills, the leadership skills, really work on those, because that's the difference between getting hired and not getting hired. But also that can add $50,000 to $100,000 to your annual salary. So I'd really focus on that. Then network and data center skills. And then, 3-4 months into the program, when you're ready, you knock these certifications out like they're nothing. It'll be like a warm knife through butter, because you'll already have the knowledge. So then I recommend doing the certifications. But knowledge first, certifications later, and then it's not a paper certification. Here's the other thing. Malcolm, when you know the network and the data center, and then you get the cloud training, it's like, oh my God, that's so simple. And it makes sense to you. Whereas if you just read the cloud stuff, then it's like, I spoke to 1,000 AWS certified people, and I asked every one of them what was an EC2 instance, and believe it or not, less than 100 knew it was even a virtual machine, and of the people that knew it was a virtual machine, 3 of the 1,000 even knew what a virtual machine was. So When you're dealing with that, that's what happens when people do certifications first. So learn the network, learn the data center, get all those fundamentals solid, all the architectural principles, knock out these exams like nothing, and you'll be good. So that's what I would do. Malcolm Sims, if that's a Marine Corps jacket, I say thank you for your service and hoorah. So Chris, thank you so much for bringing this one. Malcolm, that's the order that I would do it, because certifications for me are the following. They help get you an interview. So in the beginning, are you ready for the interview? The answer is no. So first focus on the stuff that makes you good at your career. Learn all the hard stuff first, and then when you're there, knock out the certification piece. It's literally nothing, and then you'll be in good shape. But Malcolm Sims, do our free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate Bootcamp on April 12th to 16th. Realize when we do one, it's going to be much more like a professional one than an associate one, but that's our version of an associate. We always give you much more than the expensive price of free that we're charging. We'll give you a much deeper thing than a normal AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. And you're going to have a great time with it. I look forward to seeing some really big success for you. And again, thank you for your service. Chris, we want to go to the next one? Leopold. Hi, how do you think the potential recession will impact the job market for cloud professionals? I think it's going to be really great for some careers and really bad for other careers. I think the cloud architect career will continue to blossom. And the reason is the cloud architect is a digital transformation specialist. They're going to go into companies that are going to help them with their business. So for example, there's a recession. The cloud architect will come up with ways to enhance communication, collaboration, sales, for example. Now that brings in money to the companies that are where they're selling, so they typically grow. Now, having said all that, it'll change what the cloud architect does. In a recessionary environment, the cloud architect will be creating communications and collaboration technologies to help get rid of some of the cloud professionals, not the architects. And I'm going to tell you who's going to be replaced and where they can be sent to. And I'll tell you why there's certain jobs like software engineering, which I think are terrible, that I never recommend, and I'll tell you why. So what I think is going to happen is the market for cloud architects is going to increase, and we cloud architects are going to be getting involved in automation architectures to try and help companies do more with less, like we normally do. We'll be involved in increasing productivity and helping companies lay off to do more with less. So who benefits? The DevOps engineers are also going to typically do well in this, and the reason is one DevOps engineer can replace all these admins and deploy what 20 people can do by themselves. The little infrastructure as code. So I see DevOps as good. Now, cloud engineers, I still see as good, and here's the reason why. Not as good as the architect or anything close to it, but still good, and here's why. When I design something to take it out of their data center to get it into the cloud to improve business performance, provide digital transformation, etc., we need somebody to build it. So the cloud engineers are good. Now, who gets crushed in a recession? Anybody with a cloud admin job, and here's the reason why. I'm not going to pay $30 to a cloud admin in the US when I can find a cloud admin in India for $10 an hour. If I'm a company and I'm losing money and I've got $30 in the US plus benefits or $10 offshore, I'm going to hire offshore. So software developers, I get people that are trying to work with me every day between $10 to $15 an hour as a software developer overseas. I don't use them, but the point is because I don't do software development. But software engineering, that gets outsourced to the cheapest place you can find it in the world. And there's lots of really smart people in India, Africa, Russia, Ukraine, all those Eastern Bloc countries. Lots of people that are less expensive, that are super capable. So software development gets lost, administration gets lost. It'll still be done, but it'll be done in a place where it can be done cheaper. After all, what do we do anyway? We sponsor visas to bring people over because we don't have enough qualified people to do the jobs. In a bad economy, anything that can be there. So, Leopold, who gets paid? Well, people that are tied to sales, like architects, their jobs don't go cut, generally speaking. People with good attitudes are good. People with executive presence, energy, enthusiasm, the right attitude, and integrity are good. People that go above and beyond are good. So the kind of people we train, Leopold, usually do really well. Who doesn't do well? The cranky person, the lazy person, the person that's not emotionally intelligent and not nice to others, The person that's the social outcast, they're the first to go. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But anything related to bringing money in, like sales, generally doesn't go, assuming you're doing your job. Anything related to automation, again, excellent, because it's cutting costs out. So I see a boom in communication and collaboration technology, automation technology, machine learning, etc. That's where I see it, Leopold. And it is a fantastic question. Ming, what is the career pathway before becoming a cloud architect? Ming, I don't know what you mean. If you want to become a cloud architect, you become a cloud architect. So somehow, Ming, people have it in their mind that they have to do 20 different jobs before they become cloud architects. That's insanity. Many of my students' first job is a cloud architect job. In fact, every day or every other day, one of my students that's never been in tech before gets their first solution architect job or cloud architect job. So the first job you get is a cloud architect job. There's no reason to spend your time doing something else. I don't understand why people insist on doing this. So Ming, 25 years ago, I applied for a network engineering job that wanted 10 years experience. And guess what? That was a network engineering job, and I got hired as a senior network engineer when they wanted more than that. And I had none. And within 6 months, I was the lead architect on the team. So the key is train for the career you want. So being a cloud engineer is going to teach you how to configure stuff. Being a DevOps engineer is going to teach you how to automate. Ming, do you know how much configuration cloud architects do? 0. Do you know how much coding architects do? 0. Do you know how much time cloud architects spend on the tech? 0. So Ming, what happens is when you become a cloud engineer, you develop a cloud engineer's brand. A cloud engineer's brand's techie, 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 techie. And then that cloud engineer says, I want to be a cloud architect. And then they apply to be a cloud architect. And the manager says, no. Why? Because engineers and architects are so different in their careers. So Ming, here's what a cloud engineer does. They get given a design from the cloud architect. Here's your design. And then they configure it. So the cloud engineer needs to know the management console, the CLI, Python, Terraform, Bash scripting, PowerShell scripting, and I could go on. Linux, that's what the cloud engineer does. But the cloud architect is a different job, man. The cloud architect meets with the customer, asks about their business, their revenue, their expenses, their business goals, their business strategies. And then the cloud architect then reads the financial statements, what the industry analysts are saying. And then the cloud architect watches what people do. They look at their workflow and they determine where the inefficiencies are and they make recommendations to the executives. Then that cloud architect goes back to their company and they go call all their buddy engineers and architects and say, help me design this thing. Then the cloud architect writes it up, draws a picture, writes a document, which could be 50 pages long. Then the architect goes and presents it to the customer and sells it back to the customer. Guess what they didn't do? Any engineering along the way. And here's the problem. When people become engineers, they get an engineer's brand, which is tech, 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 tech. I speak an acronym. I've got 42 different certifications. What does somebody want in an architect? An executive that knows how to design technology. What do they want in an engineer? A techie that knows how to use the technology. So I will say this. Often it's easier for me to get a nurse hired than it is a cloud engineer hired because the brand of the architect is that business executive, that leader, that emotionally intelligent person. And that's generally not the brand of an engineer. So if you want to be an engineer, be an engineer. It's a great job. If you want to be a DevOps engineer, that's also a great job. But if you want to be a cloud architect, become an architect. Doctors don't become doctors by going to law school. Pilots don't become pilots like learning to be flight attendants. And I didn't become an architect by learning engineering. I became an architect by learning architecture. And by studying architecture, I became an architect. And that's why within 6 months of even knowing what a router or switch was, I was working as the lead architect on my team with the world's largest ISP. So that's the reason why. So I've had people that were serving food get hired by the cloud providers. I've had people that do geospatial imaging and look for places where oil can be drilled, for example, and mountains and ridges and things and densities of the earth become cloud architects. I've had psychology people become cloud architects as their first job, and they're hired by the big cloud providers. But why, Ming? Because they're experts at system design. They are experts at the network and the data center. They are experts at leadership. They have extreme business acumen, emotional intelligence, CXO relevancy, presentation skills, and sales skills. I mean, that's what it takes to be hired. And that's why we do these things, because so many people that want cloud architect jobs are learning the tech. But guess what the managers want? Leadership, sales, tech strategy, not tech building. So no, you don't have to become a cloud engineer. I know that we'll say this on a lot of job descriptions, but they're written by HR. Every day our recruiters get our people in front, and guess what? They get hired, whether they're recruiters or our recruiters. So no, you don't have to be that. I've got lots of students that can prove that otherwise, that they don't need to become an architect first. But you got to be great. You don't need to be an engineer first, but you got to be great. You got to know that network in the data center. You've got to have that strong design knowledge, strong sales skills, strong business acumen, strong leadership. That's what it takes, and that'll help you get there. Has anyone noticed that companies are starting to hire hybrid roles that require both implementation and solution architect? Actually, it's going the exact opposite direction. There were, in the beginning, when no one knew what these architects were, they were more hybrid roles. And now they're getting more separated. You can't do both at the same time. You can't fly an airplane and keep the passengers safe in their seat. You can't do big picture thinking and try and zoom in. Everything is a disaster. And here's the reason why you can't do both. If I asked you to present to the CEO about $1 billion deal, you need a lot of training for that. And when I ask you to read a financial statement, a balance sheet, and make recommendations, technology recommendations, you need an MBA's worth of knowledge for that. And when you have $1 billion solution and you need to do some return on investment capital modeling to your customer to show them that you're delivering $3 billion of value and it's only costing them $1 billion, you need some business acumen. Now, architects give speeches in front of 5,000 person audiences constantly. The way you see me, and I think I was in 30 or plus magazines, we were in 1,100 newspapers just last week with something that we released out there. The way I'm constantly in the press, as an architect, you're going to be constantly in the press, and that means media training. Now, you're going to have to be giving presentations to executives, and you're going to be dealing with analytical executives, and you're going to be dealing with visionary executives like me, as well as functional executives who are more process-oriented, and you got to know how to communicate to those types. Now, you're going to be negotiating deals. You're going to need some negotiation training, which is kind of like that. And this is just beginning to touch the things on the business side. So you really need to be an executive, almost as good as the account manager. And that takes a lot of training and expertise. And then next, you need to be able to lead the team. Now, Hobbit King, here's the thing. You will never design an architecture yourself, ever, unless you don't work in anything major. As an architect, you're literally going to go to that customer, ask those executives about their business. Then you're going to bring a team of 40 or 50 people in to baseline their systems, and you're going to have to lead them. And then when it comes time for the architecture, you're going to be there as the coordinator, as the architect. And you're going to go back to your company. You're going to be reaching out to the CEO, the EVPs, the SVPs, for example, and you're going to be saying, I need these 10 cloud architects, these 5 cloud security architects, this cloud IAM architect, 3 big data architects, 10 DevOps engineers, 4 maintenance people or SysOps people, 13 cloud engineers, and a cloud security engineer and a cloud network engineer, and some DBAs, some database administrators. And then you're going to get them together in the room, and you're going to be leading this discussion for the design. And then once it's done, you're going to document it. And then you've got to go present it back to the customer, sell it back to the customer, negotiate it. So Hobbit King, when you're dealing with that level of skill set, it takes us 500 hours to change that. You can't be implementing. And the second you start doing implementation, here's what you end up doing. You lose focus on the big picture, and your customers will literally have outages, and you will be a disaster. So you can't possibly do both. Now, the question is, with regards to job descriptions that were looking a little wacky out there, the problem was in the early days, everybody knows what knew what a network architect was. Everybody knows what an enterprise architect. And then some of the providers made a cloud engineering course and called it a solution architect course, which was all based upon cloud engineering. And Hobbit King, that's when we made our program, because the people can do those certifications all day, and nobody's ever going to hire them as architects because they're engineering certifications. And that's kind of that. To kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So that is the reason. It got so bad, and I'll read you this article from CIO Magazine. It got so bad because, there's thousands of us architects that are out there. And all of us know what we architects actually do because we're architects. We used to look at some of these job descriptions and literally laugh. And we would laugh at them and say, this is comical entertainment. And, every day where I speak to my architects that are getting jobs, what do? They're like, Mike, I tell jokes, I buy lunches, I give presentations, I sell exactly what you told me. So it got so bad that Gartner, and I'll tell you who Gartner is if you're new to tech, you want to know who the best cloud is? Ask Gartner. Best firewall? Ask Gartner. Best VPN technology? Ask Gartner. Best anything? Ask Gartner. And when Gartner saw a while ago, and they're getting better right now, the job descriptions, when they saw architecture and engineering mixed in the same job, Gartner went, what the heck is this? So Gartner decided to say, let's ask the customers what they want to hire. Here's the thing. They asked the customers what they want to hire. And here's what the customers said. So who responded? The chief information officer. So look at it this way. I'm the CEO of the company. Do you know what my chief information officer would be doing if I wasn't fulfilling that role as well? They'd be determining all the technology that would meet my strategy. That's their job. So you want to get hired in tech? Who's your boss? The chief information officer. So here you go. Gartner asked chief information officers, what do you want in the perfect cloud architect? And here's what they said. We would like someone that can lead the cultural change for cloud adoption, develop and coordinate a cloud architecture. That means design, and develop a cloud strategy and coordinate the adoption process. That's exactly what I've done for 25 years. Next, they said, what do you want them to do every day? They said, find talent with the necessary skills, assess application software and hardware, create a cloud broker team, establish best practices for the cloud across the company, oversee governance and mitigate risk, working closely with IT security people to monitor privacy and develop incident response procedures, manage budgets and estimate cost, and operate at scale. So as you can see, they're telling you, I don't want this. The only people that are doing this are the people that are pushing certification classes. They're trying to turn the architect into a techie, and here's what happens. They look like techies, and no one will ever hire them. So that's what we do, and that's what we're seeing. And our students that we've got graduated, which is somewhere on the nature of 100, I can't keep track in the last year, that all got cloud architect jobs. I haven't had a single one that touched the technology yet, because that's not what architects do. Dylan Bell. What is the fastest way to become a cloud architect, and what are the similar jobs to a cloud architect, which are also similar in the salary? So Dylan, the fastest way is to take our cloud architect career development program. It'll take you about 8 months if you've never worked in tech before, and it'll take you about 4 months if you've worked in tech, and that's far faster than it would take otherwise on your own by several years. Now, what is a cloud architect? And here's the thing, there's a massive amount of difference in cloud architect salaries. I've seen them as low as 120, and people like me routinely get $500,000 cloud architect salaries on a daily basis. And here's the reason why. Some of us play at the extreme level of business acumen, and some people try to stay closer to the technology. The closer you are to the business and the people, the by far you'll get paid. So what is a network architect or a cloud architect? It's someone that designs an end-to-end system using cloud technologies. What is a solution architect? A solution architect is someone that designs an end-to-end solution on a single cloud provider, where a cloud architect will do it on everywhere. What else is like a cloud architect? A network architect who designs the end-to-end network. What else is like the cloud architect? A security architect who does end-to-end security. Also similar is an enterprise architect, and that is someone that does end-to-end system design, mostly on cloud in today's world. Here's the thing dealing with all these architecture positions. Every one of them is system design. For all these positions, there are no hands-on tech. Customer-facing design, presentations. So, Dylan, I'll tell you the reason that I'll tell you ours is the fastest. We've taken about 30 to 50,000 pages of reading material and boiled it down into our program, because that's the amount of depth that you actually need to know to get here. You need to have somebody teach you how to design systems, and that's not covered in certifications. So that means you're going to need to have somebody teach you the network in the data center and teach you how to architect things. That architecture or system design is critical. Now, Dylan Bell, unless you've ever sold a product over $1 million, you will need sales training, because it's one thing to sell a $100,000 car, and it's another thing to sell a $100 million thing with a different kind of a sales cycle and all the ROI modeling, etc. You must study leadership skills, because you will be leading large teams, upwards of 50 people, that don't even work for you or report to you. So you can't discipline them or fire them, but they have to work for you. You will be presenting at conferences constantly as an architect, Dylan. So you're going to have to focus on those communication skills and, spend some time, effort, and money in there. You are going to be called constantly because some engineer agitated somebody at the customer site. And you're going to have to go in there and smooth the relationship and ruffled feathers. So your schmoozing skills need to be exceptionally good. You're going to be selling things, so your sales things need to be good. Now you're going to be negotiating things, so your negotiation skills have to be good. And that's why we teach all of this in our course. So, those are the kind of things. You will also need to be CXO relevant. So you will need to learn how to write financial statements. You will need to learn how to do ROI modeling, et cetera, et cetera. So those are those kind of things that are not the tech that are there that you need for every single architect job. And that's why we do it. And realistically speaking, that's why our program is 500 hours versus everybody else's that's like 20, because we've got to go deep, deep, deep into that. That's what we've got to do to get people really hired. And that's why our people get hired more and paid more. So the fastest way to become the cloud architect is to take our cloud architect career development program. If you didn't take ours, you'd have to learn those things that I just described to you. Then after that, you would need to learn networking, somewhere between the CCNA and CCNP level from the Cisco side. You will also need to learn the data center, which means that if you're not with us, you'd have to read these 4 or 5 basic networking books: Internet Routing Architectures from Bassam Halabi, Routing TCP/IP Volumes 1 and 2 from Jeff Doyle, Steve Vann's TCP/IP. Now that will be an intro to networking. That'll be about 8,000 pages of reading. That will be minimum that you'd need to read without us. But that won't cover NAT. That won't cover switching. So you'll need to learn about switching, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, etc. You'll need to learn about VLANs and VLAN tagging and VLAN trunking protocols. You'll need to learn about QoS, etc. So that's going to be another 4,000 to 5,000 pages of reading that you can get from Cisco. And then you'll have the basic networking knowledge. If you're not with us, if you're with us, it's all covered in the course. Now, you will also need to learn about virtualization. So if you're not with us, you're going to have to go to the VMware website and really learn a lot. You're going to have to build some VMware servers. Then what you need to do is learn all about containers. And you can do this on the internet too. You can go to Docker or Kubernetes VMware and read their documentation completely free. And then you can get DNS. You can go to F5 and read the DNS. You can read the Internet Engineering Task Force, RFCs on DNS. And again, that'll get you there. So you can learn all these things on your own, or you could take our program, but that's the key. You must know the network and the data center, and here's why. What do architects do? We take the things from the network and the data center and we migrate them to the cloud. What don't we do is configure. What is solution architect training? The name of a service and how to configure that service. What do? We do design. So we design network and data center technology. So we take things from the physical network and data center to the cloud, which is just a rented out data center. It's somebody else's data center. It's a virtual data center network. So that's all we do. We take something from physical to virtual. We can't take it physical to virtual if we don't know what it is. So Dylan, that's the fastest way. Great question, by the way. Shoot for stars. For someone new to the field, what should be considering when determining cloud architect versus cloud engineer? What do you want to do? That's really all it takes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's easier for me to get somebody a cloud architect job than a cloud engineer job because you got to learn so much more to be a cloud engineer. But for the people that like cloud engineering, it's fantastic. So the real question is, do you like to design, present, and sell? Do you want to be a business executive because that's the architect? Or do you like working with tech? Do you enjoy working with tech? And if you enjoy working with the tech, coding the tech, configuring the tech, then guess what? You're a cloud engineer. So what I need you to do is as follows. Determine what you like. Look at me. Do you think I enjoy sitting behind a desk? No, I hate it. Do you think I like coding? No, I hate it. Do you think I like, being hands-on? In my youth, yeah, but no, I don't enjoy it anymore. So for me, architecture is the thing. But for me, I'd rather go talk to the CEO. I'd rather evaluate their business performance and make a business recommendation. Now, shoot for the stars. There's going to be a big pay disparity between the two things, but that can't be what determines what you do. And I'm going to tell you how to maximize your pay as an engineer or an architect, because you can earn money at both if you know the secrets. So the secret is, do you want to be hands-on, or do you want to design, present, and sell? If you like coding, if you like configuring, if you like working with Linux, if you like infrastructure as code, then you will enjoy cloud engineering. By comparison, if you'd like to give a speech at a conference, if you want to go have a corporate credit card and spend $50,000 of company money on lunches, dinners, and drinks, entertaining clients, if you want to go travel the world and talk to people, then the architect job is the right job for you. So that's really the determination of whether you want to be on the business side, business exec, or whether you want to be technical, and they're both good. Here's the secret. Now, generally speaking, architect careers can pay a few $100,000 more a year than engineering careers. And the reason is as follows. Your value and what you get paid is determining based upon the impact you make upon your organization. So when people say there's a pay disparity between two people, yeah, just one person do more than the other. That's the first thing I want to look for till I determine whether it's a real pay disparity or not. And what I mean by this is, who gets paid more? The people that have the most emotional intelligence. Want to know how much on average it makes? $29,600 more per year. How about soft skills? Do you know how much that makes on the average person? 30% different in their salaries. So if you want to be an architect, these soft skills are critical. You can't become an architect with tech skills. You must have design skills, sales skills, presentation skills, executive presence skills, ROI modeling skills, leadership skills, CXO relevancy, negotiation skills, interview skills, etc. You need that as the architect. But guess what? If the engineer learns those same skills, then they can add another $50,000 to $100,000 to their salary, and then they can get paid more and be bigger. So I teach those same executive skills to my engineers and architects. Now, my engineers don't like them. I can tell you that right now. I put them in these classes, and half of them just get quiet. But if they do it, it'll help them get hired more and paid more. So the key is, what do you enjoy? If you're like me, it's architect all the way. But if you like to be technical, it's engineering all the way. And here's really the thing. It doesn't matter. It just matters that you're happy. One's not better than the other. They're just different. You know, a pharmacist is not better than a physical therapist, or a physical therapist is not better than a pharmacist. They just do different jobs. How do you choose what you should do? Choose what makes you happy. Choose what makes you happy. So I don't know what that is that makes you happy. So if you like to design, present, and sell, be an architect. If you like to code and configure, be an engineer. But really what matters most is you do what makes you happy. And here's the thing. If you're miserable in your job, you're going to look like this all day. When you look like this all day, you don't have a good career. So do what you love. Make your vacation or your holiday your vacation, and you'll never work a day in your life. That was the advice of Mark Twain. I used to read 1,000 pages a day and multiple nonfiction week per week. I've never read a fiction book, but Mark Twain had some cool quotes, which I thought were kind of cool. So that was one of them. That's my recommendation. So at this point, thank you so much for joining us. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and hit the bell. If you're here and you had a good time, please hit the like button and signal the algorithm to show our content to more people. Hope you had a wonderful day today, and I look forward to meeting you another day. Take care, everybody. Let's get you all cloud higher. I'd like to tell you about some free things we do to help you get your first cloud architect job or transition into tech. 3 times per week, completely free on YouTube. I will answer any type of cloud computing questions you have. Come and ask questions about how to build your career, and I will answer them completely free. Every Thursday, we have a completely free How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar. People come from all over the world in this webinar. I will tell them the following: how to leverage their life experience so the hiring manager they're ready. I'll go over the job, the cloud architect job, in depth. I'll go over the things that hiring managers desire. I'll teach you how to bypass HR and get your resume directly in the hands of the hiring manager so you can get hired and not auto-rejected by HR when you lack experience. And it'll be a great time, and you'll learn so much, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly what you need to get hired. This is Michael Gibbs. I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.